Hello, my name is Zero. I'm an Australian Persian who likes to play games, make music, and be a menace to society. I haven't been around for long, but I would love it if you support me on this journey I'm taking. I create videos on YouTube and do streaming on Twitch, so make sure to follow me on those platforms to find my content. I also have a Blue Sky page where I'll post updates and random stuff. I hope you enjoy your time here with me, and I'll see you all very soon. How we doing? Oh my god, this is amazing. Because, I've now got motion. I can move instead of just, indicate that I am talking. You can now see it. You can now see the motion. And look, I can smile. We also have, if I go over to my list, I can wave. I can do this when I'm playing games. I can be shocked. I can die. And I can be very happy. I plan on doing so many other things for this. This is such a massive change, and because of this we also have a new logo icon thing. It's already currently on Twitch and on my Discord profile, but I have yet to put this on YouTube, because if I go grab up my YouTube real quick, I'm going to close that now. This is what it currently looks like, with coming soon and a question mark. This is what the YouTube channel currently is. And soon, probably after the stream, I'll change it to the new stuff. I'm just so happy because of this. This is a massive change. It's huge change in terms of how I do my content. Because now I can be more expressive in ways that I haven't been before. And I just like the fact that, while I could get a similar experience, if not better, on Windows, I'm on Linux. Because why not? And I plan on staying on Linux for probably forever. Because, Linux is actually pretty decent. And also, just wanting to say right now, I'm using a shitty webcam to do this. I was trying to figure out how to use my phone to do it for tracking. I could not figure it out, and the methods I was trying weren't working, so I don't exactly know what's happening there. I know I can't, I have an iPhone, so yeah, I can't do it cabled because iTunes dependency thing, it's just not, it don't work. and for some reason, even though I had my PC with Wi-Fi on, it couldn't find itself. Well, the PC, to be exact. And so, yeah. Will I, at some point, be able to either, one, get a better webcam, or two, figure out how to work the phone? Maybe. Do I right now? No. No, I do not. I do not know. But we'll see later down the line if I can figure it out. And yeah. For the meantime, I guess we'll try and play a game now. I have no real clue. Zuma's Revenge obviously isn't going to be happening at the moment, because that is a Thursday stream. So we can't do that at the moment. But I could try and play something else from the list. And yes, I have this. If you know what it is, you know. I'm just interested in saying what it's actually like. I've seen Rael play it. I've seen what he did, sorta. But because it has been a while since I saw that video, and I don't actually know how it is gonna be through my playthrough, I decided to go ahead and grab it, because who knows? It might be completely different. I've also just realized I should probably move this a little bit more this way to be more centered. There we go. Because now if I go like this, then I don't have to worry about there being a massive blank space to the right of me. And I'm just gonna do this because things can break. And yes, chat still works. Cool. I gave it a new sort of window style because I felt like it. And yeah, we'll be seeing how things go with this. I might do this on different roster. But I was thinking we try Terraria, considering I haven't really played that before. I mean, I also literally just got this as well. Well, not just got, because I did get it beforehand. But yeah, there's like, I do have quite a bit of games. I also have changed. So, yes, I am growing the list of furry-centric games. Because I am one. Like, shocker. But, yeah. I just love how we can be so expressive. It's like, it's so amazing. And if I want to, I can like easily go back to using the VideoTube Mini, because I still have the application and the keybinds for it. So if at any point I want to go back to the old model, I can easily do so. But I do want to kind of stick around with this thing. So, yeah. We'll see how that pans out. I've also been doing other sorts of, like, I guess research, maybe? But I'm now in a Voop chat. Don't know why it's called that. It's a weird name. But in the Voop chat Discord. So if at any time I ever want to just randomly meet with other VTubers, then I can instantly get OBS running and just start chatting away. And I have to use OBS because it has the virtual camera option. And because I'm on Linux, multiple things that would normally be able to be done on Windows just don't function. Because, of course, I am dying on the inside. I'm not used to this. Like, I have to be a lot more expressive in these ways. Because you've got to pull off, like, other emotions and things. You got to move your face in different ways in order to simply, you know, look expressive. Oh wow, putting my hand in front of my face just made my entire just made it disappear. That's amazing. So if I go like this, okay, no, it kind of tracks. It barely tracked, but I was having my hand in front of my face. If I do that, then yeah, it just resets. I just love this. I love it. I would like to at some point see if I can add my own custom sort of stuff. I feel like that would be nice, just so I can be a bit more expressive. But yeah, I'll have to talk with the creator of this to see if I can at all have the ability to do so. Because if I can, super cool, because I did also pay for this, so I should have the right to do more customization to it. That's just my opinion. But if I don't, it's understandable. It was a cheap model anyway. Yeah, because I don't have lots of money. I used some money to get this. Am I happy with the price? Yes. I mean, for the quality of this model, like, I really enjoy it. It looks super cool. All right. What do we play? Because we gotta play something, right? We can't just sit here and do nothing. I wonder, is there anything going on in the VTuber commit? I could probably just grab my intro from here. This into here. I'll just chuck that in there. There we are. Now people will see that I've done it because I'm also in another VTuber thing. Because obviously, like, I'm growing my potential, with this, and I want to keep going because I like doing this sort of stuff. It allows me to express myself. And while definitely the music is definitely the career path that I want to go down, if this fails, I would also like to still do this on the side and having, connections or a fan base in order to keep doing it reliably would just help. So I'm going to be doing my best to do as much as I possibly can, spread my influence, and do whatever the hell I can. Alright. Just trying to also try my moves. Since it is, we're just doing a new Persian model, I think we'll do this. I think we will, Just feels right. Is it normally quiet? Probably also update this because we're no longer just chatting. I've already added tags. Kabunk. Bunk. There we are. I want preferences. I'm just gonna lower you down. Ah, there's the music and stuff. The rising sun hit me in the face as soon as its rays splashed through a crack in the window curtains, which was so inopportunely located right above my bed. This is amazing. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm playing the furry Protogen game as a Protogen. What? I barely restrained myself from letting out a miserable groan and tried to turn over, hiding my face in the pillow to sleep off as much as I could. I kind of do the same thing. I do the same thing. I feel like I'm going to get called out a bit. Good morning, Zero. You're already awake. I'm just going to do like a deep-ish sort of man voice for the, I don't know, others. Maybe. Rise and shine, son. You have a lot of work today. Dad, too cheerful for a man who got up with the sunrise, opened the curtains that serve as a door to my room, and stepped right up to my bed. My dad used to do that to me. And my mom. But that's because they, had to in order to get me awake. Now I kind of just do it whenever. He put his hands on his hips, beaming with a wide smile. I fidgeted on my bed and tried to press my face harder into the pillow. Ah, please, let me sleep. It's still early.
Early? It's not too early, son. It's time to accomplish new feats.
What feats? Dad, really?
What do you mean? Your everyday son has a little feat for our entire community. Come on, get up. I made an agreement with Stefan. He promised to see you the best outfit for your birthday for free. He agreed to do it as a gift. Can you believe it?
Without hiding sarcastic notes in my voice, I chuckled from under the blanket. Why would you chuckle? You're getting a free coat. It is unbelievable. An act of outstanding generosity.
I told him the same thing. Stefan is the best tailor in our village, a truly gifted man, as if the Mother of Heaven herself kissed him on his hands. So get up soon. Your mom has already made breakfast. You don't want to be late, do you? Stefan is a busy man. He won't have time later. Although, of course, he will definitely have time for our chosen one.
The chosen one? Oh, I'm special. I'm special. Dad smiled at me affectionately, patting me on the top of my head, peeking out from under the blanket, and went to the window to throw open the curtains. I grimaced. Grimace shake. Is that a grimace shake reference? I grimaced and sighed heavily, but didn't say anything. It was better to accept my fate than to start an argument for the 100th time, for which I had no strength in the morning. I mean, neither do I. After almost 20 years of this, I had 20. Okay. I had no strength left to argue, no matter how much my head ached any time. I think that should be a space between that two. I'm pretty sure it should be separate, not one word. No matter how much my head ached anytime I heard the chosen one stuff, it stuck to me like a stigma? It stuck to me like to... It stuck to me like a stigma when I was 3 years old, and little had changed since then. The day when my fate was predetermined by the gods, to be precise one god, who according to legends is the younger brother of the Mother of Heaven named Lit, I remember for the rest of my life. Sorry. Which was strange, because at the time I was no more than 3 years old. Maybe these were false memories that I invented for myself while listening to my parents' stories about this wonderful day throughout my childhood. But it didn't matter whether they were false or not. All that mattered were the blurry pictures stuck in my head. It was the flame of the bonfire, in which the solemn birthday celebration of all the village children born on this date took place. It just coincided with the end of the year, when our settlement of Northern Valley was harvesting. It was the singing of the school choir girls, the smell of freshly brewed birdberry juice. The elders came to give the usual instructions to the younger generation, and at that moment, one of them informed us that he had a vision. He had seen Lit, who was in the form of a starbird, descending to him from the sky, and told him that I, a 3-year-old child, the son of a simple farmer, carried a great destiny. According to the elder, in the future I'd become the head of the community. I'd lead the village to prosperity and save it from destruction. And if I decided to turn off my path, I would have instantly brought terrible trouble to the village community. Though, what kind of trouble was this? No one specified. We were simply confronted with that fact. So this guy has no clue what he's doing. Like me. We have something in common. And so in an instant, I turned from a simple child, the same as all my peers, into a savior whose fate was predetermined by someone from above for the rest of my life. That's sad. That's sad. You didn't even get to choose, you got forced upon it. Oh man, poor guy. In my opinion, the eldest story about Lit, who took the form of a starbird, was strange and did not inspire confidence, but the villagers thought otherwise. Everyone immediately took the elders' words in faith. After all, they used to live like this for many centuries, never questioned a story, which was more like a fairy tale in my eyes. At first, I really liked they... Oh my god, just speak. Speak properly, Zero. At first, I really liked the idea of being the chosen one. I was a simple child whom few people noticed, who had to do everything on a par with peers and take part in natural competition for toys, for roles in children's games, like you for bungee jumping. Yet I became almost the first person in the community looked after like a precious brilliant. I got the best treats, the best toys, the best clothes. Every villager considered it their duty to wish me a good day every time they saw me. The teachers at the village school treated me differently, always helped and didn't give poor grades even if I deserved them. And how wonderful my birthdays were. Now, my birthday was celebrated separately from the others. Previously, all children born on the same date celebrated the same way and received the same gifts until the age of 20. But the birthdays of the chosen one were celebrated separately, so the birthdays of the others were usually switched to another day. I got the best and most desired gifts. And most importantly, everything was free. Treats, fancy clothes, anything I could ask for. Can I get a Steam Deck for my 20th? My parents couldn't get enough of it. Their son was the real savior of the community, to whom everything was given. But in return, whose life forever belonged to this tiny place of land with a settlement on it belonged to each person separately because I had to save them. Even though I didn't know from whom or from what. That didn't make much sense to me. Either it's just me being bad at English, or it's just that still just didn't make sense. Who knows? I'd been asking myself this question since I was 10 years old, but the realization of my difficult fate finally settled upon my child's mind. From whom would I save the Northern Valley? If it meant the attack of the southern tribes, I would hardly be of any help. I was highly doubtful that I would become an excellent warrior. No matter how much they taught me to fight with swords, I didn't show much success. My teachers already said that experience would come with time, that I just needed to train tirelessly. But what kind of child would like such a prospect? I did better with a bow thanks to my good eyesight. Aiming came naturally, but I lacked concentration. My thoughts were constantly hovering somewhere high, causing me to be distracted and miss. In short, even when I seemed to be doing well, I wasn't the best. But the teachers only repeated, it didn't matter, so your destiny is different. Man, they're really trying to shove in his mind that he is the best of the best. When he clearly says he isn't. Can I full screen this? Can, cool, better. Everything always rested on my purpose, and I tried to figure out myself what it was. The theory of being a great warrior fell away. Then what? Was I to prevent a global natural disaster, stop invaders from deep space? But I didn't have any superpowers and wasn't gifted scientists who could solve these kinds of problems. And the longer I thought about all this, the longer I searched for answers to the questions posed to me. The more I realized that even Damon, my friend, would have coped with the role of the chosen one better than me. He was the only person I could call my friend, although it was by a stretch. In fact, he wasn't my friend at all. No friends. I at least have friends. Damien was generally better in everything related to physical fitness and being chosen. The Council of Elders assigned him to me as a child. They said that I needed a delightful companion and defender. Damon was only 6 months older, but he carried the burden of my babysitter, guardian, and friend with dignity. Damien played this role perfectly, with honor and dedication to the council. He portrayed a friend who sincerely liked to spend time with me, but each of us understood that there was no genuine connection between us. Sometimes we chatted with each other, laughed, shared news, or discussed life in the valley, but beyond that we had nothing to talk about. I wasn't interested in Damien's life, and Damien wasn't interested in what I wanted, what I thought, or how I viewed my future as chosen. For him, I was a task that couldn't be failed, because then terrible troubles would surely await the Northern Valley. Growing up side by side with Damien, it seemed to me that he was more suitable for the role of the Chosen One than me. Damien was devoted to the council and the village. He believed that fate had long predetermined life for all of us, and it was stupid to resist this. More than once or twice, Damien shared that if he became the Chosen One, it would make him the happiest person on the planet. But I was the Chosen One, and Damien was happy for me because that's what the stars decided, so that's what was right. I was very far from his philosophy, but I tried not to show it once. I need to fix up my shoe. And I'm also gonna drink some water while I'm at it. Remember to hydrate. Just once during the years of our friendship, I mentioned in passing that the fate of the Chosen One didn't please me very much, that it was unfair to decide for me who I should be and what I were to do in life. I said I would much prefer the life of an ordinary peasant than preparing for the role of savior, the essence of which became more and more incomprehensible to me every single year. And even though the life of an ordinary peasant wasn't the most pleasant for me, it was better than the burden that the elders placed on my shoulders. Now it's just me being me, so if that sounded funky, it's because it was me. When Damien heard my revelations, he was terrified. All the kindness on his face immediately disappeared. He seemed to have forgotten how he'd been getting used to the role of my friend for years. Oh no. Well, he said that I was talking utter nonsense, and it would be... I don't know why I just suddenly had a throat issue there. I drank water. He said that I was talking utter nonsense, and it would be better for me to stop thinking like that. Otherwise, he would tell the elders everything. What exactly the elders would do to me for this, I didn't know. After all, they wouldn't punish the Chosen One. They wouldn't send me to prison until the day of all days when they needed me. But Damien was filled with the righteous anger and outrage. My words didn't fit into his picture of the world, and the only threat he knew was punishment from the elders. It was as if Damien himself was afraid that a beautiful story... Stop clicking! No! I'm missing part of the story because I click too much. What was the case for me was a magnificent gift for him. Damien got so angry that he called me an idiot and a selfish bastard. In his opinion, I wanted to jeopardize the fate of our tribe, the fate of the Northern Valley, and possibly the planet as a whole. I tried to explain to him that this wasn't my intention, and he had simply overreacted, but it didn't work. Damien thought that since I was dissatisfied with my position, it meant that the fate of the village was indifferent to me, as well as the elders' words and all the lives of all the members of the community. Oh, that's gonna be distorted. For several minutes, he shouted accusations at me menacingly, until his face was red, and only stopped when I lied, saying it was all a joke, and he had misunderstood me. Damien calmed down and turned to my good friend again, who was always ready to help, but now I knew that his friendship wasn't worth a damn, and from now on, I'll try not to say a word about what I was really thinking or feeling. All my life, I tried to hide my real thoughts from people. It seemed that everyone would react exactly the same as Damien. Even my parents. My parents reveled in my destiny, were more proud than ever, and supported the fairy tale about salvation with all their might. When I turned 15, I asked them to celebrate my birthday separately. At that time, the stigma of a special boy was already sickening. I wanted to be an ordinary person for at least one day, to celebrate my birthday with everyone, and pretend as if there had never been any lit with this warning. After my parents were vehemently against my idea. They said I should not be ashamed of my destiny, that I simply had to recognize my peculiarity, and that being different was great. But what was great about it? I had no friends, no hobbies. I spent all my free time on classes and training, and those with whom I would have liked to make friends or at least try it looked at me like a destiny ascended from the heaven. I saw myself as a small animal in a cage, They even fed me in a certain way. Since childhood, my parents put me on a strict diet which included only the most healthy products, all because the chosen one should have excellent health. No treats, no sweets. My parents will dress me according to the evidence of the elders, cleanly and with the best quality clothes. Each scent was emblazoned with... I don't understand fancy words. I don't understand. Each set was embezzled with the coat of arms of the valley of the crest, a palm print closed in a circle, a symbol of unity. The elders controlled what I read, told me how to behave, where to go. After all, the chosen one simply couldn't set a bad example to the residents of the community. All the children wanted to be like me, pointing their fingers at me and sighing admiringly when I passed by. No one treated me as an equal. I couldn't explain to anyone what it was like to be an outcast. I couldn't share my true feelings because people just called me a selfish bastard. Gradually, I became a stranger in my native village. That was how I lived, without the ability to decide something for myself, without the ability to wake up in the morning when I want, eat what I want, or say what I see fit. Each of my days was identical to the previous one, starting with an early rise, then breakfast, exercise with Damien, class with teachers and mentors, another workout with Damien. In the evening, I had to walk through the village, a kind of ritual that they also came up with, then homework, and finally sleep. I wouldn't wish such a life on anyone. Neither would I. But then there's something called school.
Zero, get up quickly. Your breakfast will be cold soon.
My mother's voice came from the kitchen, as enthusiastic as my father's. I took a deep breath, looked at the ceiling one last time, and got out of bed. I dressed in pre-prepared clothes and went up to my parents in the kitchen. Mom and Dad were talking about something at the table, smiling at each other. I sat down opposite them, frowned like a stormy cloud, and began to eat, and then I realized that in the future, I would even be deprived of a loving, happy family of my own. My mom and dad were truly in love with each other and lived their whole 20 years of marriage in perfect harmony. They never quarreled, never cheated on each other, never showed that anything was wrong with the family. They looked at each other with such warmth in their eyes that it hurt me. They were happy, but what would happen to me? Not a single girl in Salem was a match for me, simply because each of them only tried to please the chosen one. Each of them saw me and only my destiny, not the real me. Several times I tried to invite girls I knew on a date, and every time it turned into some kind of farce, a parade of fake smiles and attempts to please. I saw that I was of interest to them, not as a person, but as a savior. And it was very insulting, because I wasn't a freak whose entire personality revolved about being chosen with nothing else behind its soul. I tried to be interesting. I was always able to keep up a conversation. I made compliments. Girls never treated the dates with any semblance of normalcy, as if I was an ordinary guy who had invited them. They constantly repeated what our honor was to go on a date with the chosen one. Only a single time to forever discourage me from inviting local girls on dates. At one of the fishing season's opening celebrations, I noticed a pretty sweet girl who was talking about something with her friends. For almost the entire celebration, I kept staring at her. She was miraculously beautiful. Long blonde hair, gathered in a braid, a blue dress, and a smile on her lips. At the end of the holiday, I plucked up some courage and approached to get acquainted. Of course, she already knew who I was, but as soon as I got closer, she lowered her gaze and the smile faded from her face. I offered to meet her the next day if she wasn't busy, and I immediately saw, just by looking at her, that she didn't want to. She bit her lip and replied uncertainly, "Well, I don't know." That's gonna be the best female voice you're gonna get from me. And at that moment, a friend standing nearby, who had been looking at me with admiration, burned with outrage. How dare she refuse someone like him? The chosen one called her on a date, and she dared to refuse? Other villagers standing by immediately picked up on the news, repeating the news of this outrage. The girlfriend insisted that she couldn't refuse the chosen one, that I was a savior, and since I invited you, she had to say yes. But that girl really didn't want to go in with me, no matter how sad I was to admit it. But under the pressure of a small crowd which began to shame her for her ignorance, almost with tears in her eyes, she agreed. course, at this moment I realized that I would definitely not invite girls anywhere else in order to spare them from any public judgment they might receive by simply interacting with me. And although he could take advantage of the situation, take advantage of the power that granted me, for some reason, it wasn't in my nature. I felt somehow disgusted with myself at the crowd, and I felt offended on the girl's behalf. I assured her that everything was fine and that we could just walk around the village. I did it so that we wouldn't get a poor reputation. My reputation wasn't in danger, but hers. The next day we took a walk, only spending half an hour together. I assured her she didn't have to see me if she didn't want to. The girl thanked me, and since then, I've tried not to reproach her once, ever. Or anyone else for that matter. Ever since then, I was sure that I wouldn't see a fortunate marriage. Even if I fell deeply in love, where was the guarantee that I would be the one who's loved? I, and not the chosen one. This is just a sad story right now. This guy cannot fall in love because his tribe has put him as a chosen one and basically has him as a destiny. And so he can't do anything he wants, he has to do everything they want. That's just messed up, man. That's just bad. And all this was the fault of the elders, and to some extent, my parents, who actively played along with the crowd. It was the worst thing one could imagine.
Son, have you already written a speech for tomorrow's celebration?
I shrugged my shoulders, not distracting myself from the oatmeal. Of course, Dad. I finished it last week. Mum smiled affectionately. That's a boy. I told you, honey, our son is the most responsible boy of all.
I already knew that, dear. And to think that such an exciting event is just a day away. Our child becomes an adult, and it's not just the celebration of a simple child either, but the savior of our community.
And I sighed. My parents started the old song again about how lucky they were that I was the one who was born to them. Just how good it was that I chose them when my soul was floating somewhere around among the stars, and how lucky the whole village was that I was their savior. I wanted to cover my ears with my hands, but that wouldn't help either. I heard all this day after day, but for my birthday, it was doubly so. The breakfast I had to work out with Damien.
Oh my god, I need to stretch. Oh, look at me, I shrink.
Because I lean back, and so I shrink.
Be right back.
Right. There we go. Just needed to fix myself up a little bit. And I skipped Damien's first dialogue. I chuckled to myself, preferring not to answer these questions. It seemed that, like Damien, was just a wind-up toy that had been playing the same tune for so many years. I had another long, identical day ahead of me. Oh, we're finally doing something else other than being in a room. parents looked at me with undisguised enthusiasm.
Everything is ready, son. We've been waiting for you. Let's go soon.
How handsome you are. I tried to swallow. I tried to swallow my displeasure. I spent the whole day with Stefan, the sewer, who had sewed me another uncomfortable, tasteless suit. In its long robe, I looked more like an old bearded magician from a fairy tale than a simple birthday boy who turned 20 years old. I didn't like the clothes. I didn't like the celebration. I didn't like anything. My headache was already in advance. I wanted it to be over as soon as possible. I wanted to run away and never come back. How much longer would it last? Each of my birthdays resembled someone else's, and were not to my taste at all. And the idiotic traditions I was forced to partake in didn't make it any better. I'd been thinking about the traditional speech and preparing for the celebration all week. I had to write exactly what the residents of the community wanted to hear, not what I really would like to say. And taking into account the fact that I was writing a speech for the 10th time since I learned how to put sentence into a mind of the text, I had to really sweat not to repeat myself. Tired and annoyed, I didn't want any celebration. Moreover, this celebration wasn't mine, but the chosen one's. Holiday of the village, not the birthday of an ordinary young man. It was as if that too had been taken away from me. There was nothing I could do about it. My parents and I went to the very center of the village. A huge bonfire was already burning there. And I keep skipping dialogue. Dearie me. People greeted me with shouts, cheers, and called me by only one name, the Chosen One. I sat at the head of the table on a small podium, my already familiar place. Both the table and the podium were put together specifically for me. The elders sat on either side of me, and on the very edge of the long table were my parents, as if they were less important than the others. The wisest and most revered elder of the council rose from his seat with a glass of wine in his hand. Residents of the Northern Valley, today we celebrate a great event. Our chosen one turns 20 years old. The boy who came to our planet 2 decades ago and settled among us to become our salvation has grown into a wonderful young man. The day when he will become the ruler of the Northern Valley and decide our fate is inexorably approaching. It's only a few months away, and today we will be happy to welcome a new significant chapter of our life. Hurrah! The crowd, the whole village, seated at tables around the bonfire, shouted, responding with an out-of-sync hurrah. I tried to squeeze out a smile, but without much success. I didn't like anything that was happening at all, and I thought that this was the kind of life that was waiting for me in the future, until my death scared me to hiccups. Would every birthday be like this? And if they really make me ruler, what then? It wasn't that I wanted all my life. It wasn't what I dreamed of. Now, the Chosen One will address you with a speech. I raised my head, distracted from my thoughts. There was a dead silence around the fire. Everyone was waiting for what I would say, and my heart sank at the thought of their many expectations. I got up and looked around the crowd. My fingers were clutching a glass of wine. I tried to remember my speech. Thanks to everyone who came today to celebrate my birthday. It is a great honor for me to see your joyful faces. I have turned 20 years old, and this means that I have ceased to be a child and have grown into an adult with a whole life ahead of me. Every birthday I've talked about how glad and grateful I am that fate chose me. What an honor it is to be your home. I fell silent. My heart was racing wild in my chest. Sweat stood out in my temples. All around, all these people were looking at me and waiting for me to say something. They were waiting to hear all the things that are already repeated in different words many times. For them I was a myth come to life, an unreal person, not like them, a funny little animal in a golden cage. And at that moment I finally realized and accepted that more than anything in the world, I didn't want to remain as that trapped animal for the rest of my days. But today I won't be telling you how honored I am because I've lied. I have grown,
changed. And today I want to tell each of you, self most of all, to choose your own destiny. There is no divine intervention, no predestination. These are just fairy tales to make the fear of life go away. But if you take your life into your own hands, it won't be scary. I want to tell each of you to be yourself, and not what you were ordered to or destined to be. Fate was invented by us, people, and you believe in it with all your heart. It's time to wake up. It's time to give it up. Be yourself. And by the way, there is no it and no mother of heaven. They were invented too. With these words, I took a sip from my glass, and the people gathered at the celebration was silent. Seeing that entire village was blood and deathly silence, even the birds stopped singing. They always looked at me in utter shock, just like all the residents of the valley. It lasted at least a few minutes until one of the elves finally got his breath. Dear friends, our chosen one apparently is tired or overworked. Maybe he's sick or something. Now I'm asking the doctors here to examine him right now. The crowd interrupted and shouted in pure fear. How it was possible, how he could say this, why I said this, none of it could be true. The elders tried to calm the crowd and demand healers from me. I immediately jumped to my feet. I don't need to see healers, I'm totally fine.
Son, what are you doing? Why did you say that?
My parents rushed to me while the elders continued to crown me. Speak normally. My parents rushed to me while the elders continued to chant. My parents rushed to me while the elders continued to try to calm the raging evidence of the valley, and the healers, almost dead from shock, tried their best to hurry over me. The entire village plunged into chaos, and I had no choice but to turn around, holding Hamlet's uncomfortable idiot road, and run into the forest aimlessly. Zero! Zero! Come back! One was shouting after me, but I didn't care to listen. I didn't know how long I'd been running. It seemed like I was about to run around the entire planet in a circle. I tried not to look back, afraid to see the torches and the hands of the villagers running after me. But I was lucky. Apparently, no one had followed me in the dark. Exhausted, I collapsed into some seemingly harmless bushes and instantly fell asleep. My sleep was dreamless and so deep. When I woke up, at first I didn't understand what had happened. Where I was, and why the midday sun was already shining overhead. I was a complete mess. My hair was tangled, and this unfortunate robe prevented me from walking normally, so I threw it off to go in pants and a cape instead. I was lucky that my sudden escape fell during the off-season. It was sunny, but not hot and not cold, enough to comfortably pass a few hours. I didn't know the place well, but I remembered that there was a river somewhere ahead, and I should probably go there. However, I didn't know exactly why I needed to go there, and I didn't know what I was going to do now. Go back to the village? No way. After everything that happened, after everything I said to them, they would either grab pitchforks and torches in righteous anger, or they would immediately shove me into some kind of cage. And this time they put me into a real and not at all methodical one, under the supervision of healers and elders. My parents would be told that I was completely crazy on the basis of overexcitement for fulfilling the mission assigned to me and would heed constant supervision. Mom and Dad would believe it. Moreover, with joy, they would rather prefer their son to be an idiot and mentally ill than accept they had raised a traitor, apostate, and egoist. In general, nothing good was waiting for me in the village. And I didn't even know the precise direction I had run or how long I had run at all. How long would I have to walk if I decided to return? But on the other hand, I had nowhere else to go. I was stuck in the middle of the wild. Where to go? To the neighboring tribes? They were far away. I wouldn't reach them. And even if I did and if I somehow did, it was unlikely that any would accept me. Northern Valley had engaged in many conflicts with southern villages for centuries, mainly due to disputes over territories and religion. But the way to the western tribes was too long. I definitely couldn't get there on foot unless I swam down the river. In addition to that, I'd never gone further than the edge of my village. The elders forbade it, lest I stumble upon wild animals or any harmful plants. Everyone was no doubt worried about me, yet I had chosen to abandon everything to
to just shamefully run away. But what could I do? Continue to endure all this? I kicked angrily at a stone that came under my feet as I walked. The situation was taking a turn for the worse. Even if I calculated everything correctly and soon reached the river, there'd be no fish for me to catch at this time of day. Either way, I would have to return. Otherwise, I'd just die of hunger. I wouldn't last long on berries and mushrooms in the forest. I sighed heavily. What happened at the birthday party was probably a nervous breakdown. I didn't plan on running away like this. I wrote the speech that they wanted to hear from me, and I fully intended on giving it. But something seemed to snap on my brain, and the words poured out by themselves. Sincere, angry, and almost desperate. I need to drink more water. I remembered what I had also blurted out about Lit and the Mother of Heaven. My hands completely dropped. People would definitely not forgive me for this. They would burn me alive for such an outrageous act. Well, maybe they wouldn't burn me, but my life would become much worse than it was before. Finally, I got to the river. It was wide, but not so wide that I couldn't swim to the opposite shore. Although at this time of year, the current was quite strong, and it was possible to drown. I collapsed wearily on the shore at the very edge of the water and wondered where to go now. Ever since I was a child, I dreamed of traveling. I didn't share this dream with anyone. After the elders declared me the chosen one, it was nearly impossible to pursue. No one would just let me go to see the world, because then imminent disaster would fall on the village, at least according to their belief. It was stupid to tell my parents how much I wanted to visit wild places, see nature, and find out how other villages lived. Damon would have called it stupid childishness and promised to complain to the elders again. Now I suddenly had a choice. I could go wherever I wanted. But once in the middle of the forest alone, free to go in all four directions, I quickly realized the reality of the situation. I had no food, no equipment, no map, nothing. These shoes designed for the birthday celebration would wear off very quickly, and I would soon have to walk barefoot. Then winter would come, and in the end I'd just die in the middle of an unfamiliar wilderness, having seen enough of it. That would be the sad story of the chosen one from the Northern Valley. What should I do? I buried my head in my knees and tried to get my emotions under control. It was impossible to go give up now. It was too dangerous. It was necessary to get a grip, consider everything, and make a decision. It wouldn't work any other way, but it was easier said than done. Everything had been decided for me for all my life, and I was suddenly face to face with my own choice. There was no one around to help me, tell me what to do. Out of desperation, I raised my eyes to the sky. Mother of Heaven, or Lit, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you exist, and I was wrong, forgive me and tell me what to do. Give me at least some sign, please. I'm completely lost. The sun was shining brightly overhead, the sky was blue and clear, but I didn't see an answer from the Mother of Heaven or Lit. If you are offended, then don't be. I didn't know what I was talking about. Things got pretty messed up, and listen, you're kind of wise and understanding, aren't you? I guess you would see I didn't mean any harm. The Mother of Heaven and Lit were still silent. I merely thought how stupid I must look and laughed at myself. Yeah, right. How have I stooped so low? Talking to fictional creatures, no wonder they don't answer. You know what? I looked from the sky as if it was looking back at me. I don't need your help and your advice. I'll take my chances without. Suddenly, as soon as I finished, I heard a loud bang somewhere nearby down the river. I almost fell into the water, jumping so high from surprise. Goosebumps rolled down my leg, and my mouth went dry. I got to my feet, staring into the thicket of the forest in the direction from which the sound came. No animal could possibly make such a sound, and it certainly couldn't have been made by the forest itself. There were two options left. Either there were people here, or the mythical Mother of Heaven and Lit, which I didn't even believe, decided to give me a sign in this way. I slowly went in the direction in which I heard the bang. I moved through the thickets and came out into a clearing near the riverbank. What appeared before my eyes didn't look like a human or animal. It was a huge metal object with flashing lights in different colors. So this is where Juno shows up. It somewhat resembled a boat, but much larger. Maybe it was all was just my imagination. Maybe there was nothing here, and it just hit my head when I fell. On the other hand, how did I manage to fall in such a way? Jesus Christ, she is thick. Holy mother. I know Persians are often memed into thick thighs, but that's just huge. It's huge. Was it like a railgun on her back? Blimey. At that moment, the creature came out from behind a huge piece of the metal object. It moved on two legs and looked very much like a human. But it obviously wasn't. This creature had a weapon behind its back, and armor plates covered its entire body. The face was hidden behind a helmet, on which yellow lights were flashing. For a few moments I just stood there, not knowing what to do. I wasn't afraid, rather it was just a stupor. Who was this? And what was it doing here? Okay, that's a bit more of a manageable shape now. Now Juno doesn't look too thick. I'm probably gonna get flagged for this, because if what I've heard about this game is actually true, I might have to do some type of progression off stream or something like that. Or immediately like try and hide it in a way. Whoa. The creature, judging by its shape, was a female. She noticed me and rushed towards me. She then said something, but I didn't understand a word. Everything she said resembled one syllable, pronounced in different intonations. I somehow forced myself to get a grip and blinked. Sorry, are you trying to talk to me? The girl, as far as I could tell from her impressive breasts, exclaimed something and laughed, raising her hand and pressing something on her helmet. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think to switch my helmet to the right mode. I've never been to this planet before. I have not had a chance to communicate with the locals. Are you a local? What sex are you? Do you have names here? Are you an intelligent... You're an intelligent species, aren't you? I blinked again, feeling extremely strange, as if I was in some absurd dream. Well, yes, I guess I'm intelligent. The girl in the helmet laughed. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. You probably have never seen my kind. Oh, and where are my manners? I immediately pounced with questions. So let's replay everything. I'll start over, okay? Hi, my name is NV-0903. I'm a Persian scientist traveling around the galaxy to collect information about fauna and flora on different planets. NV... Could you repeat that? NV-0903, but you can call me Juno. I assume you have names here, right? What's your name? My name is Zero, and I'm, well, just a human. Well, reality? Yes. Do I want to be? No. I'm gonna be transferred. Changed reference. I think I'll also just leave that there for now. Because, boy, I am starting to have a sore throat for some reason. But hopefully I'll soon be able to come back later and continue forward. I'll also still be editing a video for the main YouTube channel. And yeah, then according to the schedule, Thursday is Zuma's Revenge and Saturday is Terraria. Alright, well, thank you so much for turning up. If you did, if you are watching the VOD, then you can always make sure to you can always join. Jesus Christ. You can always join me live via the Twitch link in the description below. And if you want to keep up with my social status at all, I have a Blue Sky page where you can see what I decide to post that day. But thank you all so much for turning up. If you did, if you're watching the pod, thank you for watching. And I'll catch you next time.